Hi, I'm Tim Geitz, and welcome to the Magpie Embedded YouTube channel. This week, I've been attending the Embedded Online Conference, which, as the name suggests, is an online conference that's been arranged for embedded software engineers. If you weren't lucky enough to attend, then I'm hoping that this video will give you some idea of what the experience was like, and if you were there with me, then you can treat this as a catch-up. So I'm going to be talking first of all about how the event was organized. I'll then dive into some of the talks and the content. And finally, I'll try and give you an idea of the general vibe that I felt at the conference and from the speakers. The whole conference was arranged through this website, and I think the organizers did a really good job of making it easy to find out what talks would be on and then to sign up. The advertised price was originally $250, although I did manage to find a discount code to bring this down to $150. As you'll see, you really are getting a lot for your money, and I definitely feel like I got a good deal. Moving over to the schedule, on the weekend before the conference began, a large number of talks were made available. This was a really good opportunity for you to watch videos at your own leisure, get into the swing of things, and start thinking about speakers that gave really good talks that you'd be interested in asking questions to. And that led directly into the first proper day of the conference, where a number of speakers who had given their talks over the weekend made themselves available for live Q&A sessions. These Q&A sessions were really good. They were just hosted on normal Zoom calls, so it was really easy to get set up, and the hosts did a good job of making it clear who was ready to speak, and then you would just unmute yourself and turn your camera on, or if you'd rather, put your question in the chat and they would ask that to the guest, and they all gave honest and interesting answers. So thank you to all of the speakers who went and did a Q&A. So following the excitement of the first set of Q&A sessions on Monday, on Tuesday there were a number of longer workshops, and as I understand it, some of these were interactive. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find time in my schedule to go to these at the time, but I'm definitely going to check these out in the next few weeks. Based on the rest of the conference, I trust that there's going to be really good advice in there that will potentially add to your tool set as an embedded engineer and that you'll just have fun learning about. Wednesday and Thursday were made up of more talks that were immediately followed by Q&A sessions. So this was quite interesting because you would just watch your talk and then go straight into asking somebody about it. Again, the Q&A sessions were great and full of people that you might not normally be able to talk to. In the UK, these sessions went on until 9 or 10 o'clock sometimes, so that was a little bit late for me, but I did manage to go to all of the talks that I really cared about. And the ones which I wasn't able to go to, I know that I can go and check at any time, including the Q&A sessions which were all recorded and made available. As if that wasn't enough, for your 2021 ticket, you also got access to all of the videos that were recorded in 2020 on demand for the rest of the year, the validity of your ticket. So 2 years for the price of one, and all made really easily available. You can't argue with that. As I said, I wasn't able to go to every talk of the conference, but I wanted to show you some of the talks that I did enjoy, so you can get an idea of the breadth of information that was covered in this conference. So one of the talks that was made available over the weekend was Mitch Davis, talking about what the next steps are once you've become familiar with your Arduino. I thought this was a really good talk because I know I've been there myself, where you can get something working on an Arduino or a similar microcontroller that has a lot of resources and tutorials and videos around it, and as soon as you try and do something more complicated, you just feel like there's nowhere to go. Mitch did a great job of outlining some of the possibilities for moving forwards, as well as making it clear that other people have been through this and come out the other side. And just sometimes just knowing that can make all the difference. One of the keynote talks of the conference was Steve, who works at NASA and is responsible for the flight software engineering of the Mars Perseverance rover. Now, this was a fascinating talk, and as Steve said in the Q&A, almost every single slide of his talk could have been turned into an entire 40-minute presentation in and of itself. I think just giving us an overview of how complicated this system is, as well as the tools that NASA uses to tackle this complexity, was really valuable. And Steve also gave us an inside scoop of what it's like to be in the control room when a vehicle that you helped build and decide how it controls itself autonomously lands on the surface of another planet. So that was amazing. Colin gave us a talk about self-testing embedded systems and why we need to be paranoid about the actual hardware that our embedded systems run on, what can go wrong, and how we should try and fix it. Now, this isn't an area that I've had to think about too much so far in my career, but I thought it was really interesting to learn some of these techniques and see the problems that other people have had to tackle and how they got around it. And for my final example, Dave and his parrot told us about how to get the bugs out of your embedded product. And the technique that he really emphasized was being able to run your embedded system on a normal computer, so as a standard executable, and building out simulations for all of the peripherals. His argument was that most of the bugs that you're going to find in your product are in the software and are not hardware specific. So by being able to run it on your computer, you can iterate faster and give yourself the best chance of success. I hope that gives you a good idea of the topics that were covered during the conference, although there's plenty that I didn't get to. There were talks about organizing your team, open source hardware, and plenty about software, as you might imagine. What was the vibe that I got during the conference? What was the feeling that the speakers and the other guests and the hosts were giving off? Well, I think the number one thing is that embedded systems are interesting. Everyone who was at this conference giving a talk was really enthusiastic about the subject, and not just talking about things that they had personally done, but trying to explain why they thought that what they had done was for the better, and how they thought that other people could take that forward and build even better embedded systems. So the sharing of this knowledge was really good. I think that a lot of enthusiasm came across about actually interacting with the real world through our peripherals, our sensors, even with users sometimes, and actually not being scared of that, but embracing it. The second point I wanted to make about vibe I got during the conference was that other people have your problem. You are not the only person in the world who's had your problem with an embedded system. There are lots of other people out there, and a lot of them are having similar problems to you. I guess one smaller point around that was emphasized is that sometimes organization is the problem. It's not a technical issue. It's to do with how you formulate the problem and how you set about solving it that's going to decide your chances for success. Now, knowing that other people have your problem is one part, it's one thing. It doesn't necessarily help you. The second part of that is that there are solutions out there. Now, not every single problem is going to have a solution where you can just go and find what somebody else did and apply it directly to your situation. But what I mean is, other people are having your problems and they're setting about fixing it, and they're going to give back through conferences like this and tell you how you might try and solve it when you come across something similar. And that again ranged from everything from specific techniques to do with hard to understand map files that might be hidden within your compiler, through to how you can ask your customers better questions to get feedback early on and make sure that you're building the right thing. Now, this is really, really valuable for anybody at any level to understand and to get an idea of what these solutions are. So I really enjoyed the Embedded Online conference this year. If they do it again next year, I'll definitely be going. If they run something in person when we're actually all able to go, then I'll probably be one of the first to put my hand up and try and go. And who knows, at some point soon, you might even see me giving a talk. So again, I'm Tim. This has been the Magpie Embedded YouTube channel. You can check out our other content from the links in the description. If you like this video, please let us know down below, comment and subscribe. Thank you very much, and see you soon.